My name is George Wallace, and this is Poets Corner. Stuck on the BQE thinking about Jimmy Schuyler. Sunday afternoon, 1:30 p.m., I'm crawling southbound on the BQE toward the Williamsburg Bridge. Instead of flying along the highway like a man ought to do. A man ought to fly along the highway if he's driving anywhere else in America, but here we are in the pothole capital of the world, driving over the rooftops of Brooklyn, stuck in traffic. Even though it's a Sunday afternoon in winter, the economy's in shambles again. The big rumbling engine of America has run out of gas. It's been abandoned on the side of the highway. America's sitting on cinder blocks on the side of the road like it used to do, like one of those cars back in the day, abandoned on the Cross Bronx Expressway by some sucker from the suburbs, and the local boys have already pounced on it and stripped it down. And I'm thinking how, if this was back in the day, I'd be living in New York City with art critics and abstract expressionists. I wouldn't be pouncing on abandoned cars like the boys in the South Bronx. I mean, if it was 1950-something, I'd be drinking beer at the Cedar Tavern with Jackson Pollock and Franz Klein. I'd be working at the front desk of the MoMA like Frank O'Hara. I would be cruising the streets like crazy Chester Coleman, staying with people in Southampton, making friends with W.H. Auden and Fairfield Porter. I'd be doing it like Jimmy Schuyler did it, like he used to do it back in the day, and the sexy trucks would be rolling up 2nd Avenue for me, like they did in Schuyler's poem February. They just rolled away into the sky like all the hot young lovers that rolled into and out of Jimmy Schuyler's life. But I'm not Jimmy. I'm not Jimmy Schuyler. I'm not living back in the day. I'm living in the now. Even though it feels like February, the way old Jimmy described it in his poem, his very good poem, February, with its tulips trying to open up and its women jiggling babies, its windows with their tight little eyes. Now, it's not February. It's March 15th. I'll be 60 years old next week. 60! By the time Jimmy Schuyler was this old, most of the important people in his life were dead. Bunny, Frank, Jimmy LeSueur, he had diabetes. The American Academy of Poets had elected him fellow. They were handing that boy $10,000 a year. If you can believe that, $10,000 a year in the 50s. And all I get from them is notices that I ought to be a member, or else I was a member, but now my membership's about to expire, and I'm wondering, where are all the important and dead people in my life? What if I could get $10,000 a year from the Academy instead of paying them $35? How can a man even see the UN building like Jimmy Schuyler says that he did in that poem? Because from where I'm sitting here on the BQE, that building looks like a big, bad box of American cereal to me, and not a green wave in a violet sea, which is a perfectly good image. But I mean, what was old Jimmy thinking about when he said that? Green wave in a violet sea. What angle was he looking at the UN building from? What was he trying to say? I mean, look, it's a terrible building. A UN building? I mean, I suppose from some angle it doesn't look like an IBM card or a big ugly box of blind American Kellogg's Cornflakes. Maybe from some angle it doesn't look like a big keyhole that if you find the right key and you jiggle it just the right way, you might open the door to eternity. And I'm thinking, they don't leave holes in the New York City skyline the way they used to do they? They don't leave them there for very long. I mean, they just fill them up with something new. But then again, maybe Jimmy Schuyler is onto something. Maybe he could see something I can't see. Maybe there would be a big hole in the New York City skyline if you took the UN building away. Just like death put a hole in the sky the day that it took Jimmy Schuyler away from the rest of us. Because after all, a lot of people I know miss Jimmy Schuyler, and they talk about him all the time. And even though I never knew the man, I know them. So sometimes I talk about him too.